Okay, welcome everybody to Community Open Hour. I'm your host, Janae Andrus, and I'm the SALT Community Manager. And fun fact, I also host Salt Air, which you guys should totally check out on YouTube. And I say at the beginning of Open Hour, like, I'll be hosting for the hour. And we were recording Salt Air the other day, and I accidentally said, host for the hour. And Tom's like, we are not talking for an hour. This is a 10-minute thing. I was like, that was an open hour habit. So it was pretty funny. I was like, okay, well, let's just re-record that. He's like, nope, we're just going to keep going. I'm like, okay. So one of the Salt Airs is going to be real funny. Anyway, unless Chunga edited it masterfully, we'll see. Anyways. All right. All the things. So fun little tidbit. Okay, so today we're going to do some general updates. We're going to talk about SaltConf as we do, and working groups and release updates and release timeline, and then we'll hear from you. Any questions you have. And as always, if you have questions prior to that you'd like to talk about, shoot us an email and let us know. Okay, first of all, before we do anything else, I just have to thank all of our working group captains who participated in our virtual meetup yesterday. It was awesome. We had just a fantastic virtual meetup last night. Some really great people. And we'll be posting that on YouTube this week, today or tomorrow. It was awesome. Like, we just really got a great recap on what each of the working groups are doing. So if you've ever had any kind of interest in what the working groups are doing or how to be part of it, be sure to check that out. It's on the virtual meetup playlist on YouTube, and I will post it in Slack as soon as it's live as well. But seriously, thank you for those of you who were there. It was just really great. It was really great to get together. Everyone was just so prepared and had such phenomenal content. I was just very impressed. We had really great meetup. So thank you. Okay, speaking of meetups, let's talk about our June meetups. So I gave you a little insight into some Salt Air behind the scenes, but next month we're going behind the scenes of the hacks, and I am super excited. We're going to have Tom and Chunga, and if you guys haven't listened to our podcast, The Hacks, it's awesome. Sage messaged me the other day. She's like, I can't stop laughing. I'm listening to the hacks.
It is so funny. There's hilarious parts. I mean, I was crying.
It's awesome. So third Wednesday of every month is when we do our meetup. So Wednesday, June 16th at 5 o'clock Mountain. We're going to get behind the scenes with Tom and Chunga of the hacks, and I'm super excited. So bring your questions. They're going to get super real with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll make it kind of a party vibe. So, bring a snack, bring a drink, water, obviously, and we'll have a good time. And then we also have a really exciting meetup later that day. We're doing a meetup in the Asia Pacific Japan time zone. So it's actually going to be June 17th at 11 a.m. Singapore time, which is the same thing as June 16th at 9 p.m. Mountain time, which is not on this slide. And so that's when that's going to be. So if you are in Mountain time and you want to get behind the scenes with Tom and Chunga at 5 o'clock and then hang around 9 o'clock, Tom's going to be doing Config Management 101 talk, and we are really looking forward to that. So really excited about expanding into other time zones to just be more accessible to more SALT users and contributors and people interested in what SALT can do for them. So really looking forward to that. And we just had a lot of interest in that region. So we're really excited. Okay, so our docs clinic is canceled until further notice, and that is not anything to do with the docs working group. Docs working group is still clicking along. This is just the docs streaming clinic that was on Twitch every other week. We're going to hold off on that because Derek is just too awesome, and so we give him too much. So anyway, so we're just going to hold off on that for a minute while we get things rolling. We're still waiting on getting a dedicated technical writer and all of that. So it's coming back. It's just canceled until further notice. So thanks for being chill with us on that. But what's not canceled is our Twitch stream with Tyler on Item Cloud. And that is 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 2 p.m. Mountain, which means you can catch it tomorrow at 2 p.m. So that's become a very popular stream. So feel free to catch that one.
I will say just really quickly, Janae and I talked about this, and we didn't think that it was quite right for us to do Twitch for the open hour we used to. we could still do that, but it would really change the format of what we do here. And we didn't want to do that. We actually like what we're doing here. It would change things to be more like a webinar. And so we thought that was not the right decision. So we're going to forego that for now until we could do something else that we could still keep this format. So just so people know, we haven't forgotten about that we used to do that, and things have sort of changed. And we wanted to keep the intimacy that we have here instead of making it so closed off, which is what would happen. And not a good idea. So, but we do want to continue to use Twitch as a platform, and we will continue to do that where it's appropriate. And if you guys have ideas, let us know.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, we like what we have rolling. I said this in the virtual meetup yesterday, but I'll share this today as well. I was in a meeting yesterday, and they were just asking us to do a recap on our community and the kinds of things we do and the kind of interactions we have with everybody. And I was just giving them a general broad recap. And by the end of it, the person I was presenting to just said, I have no reason to be involved with the SALT community, but I really want to be now. She's like, can I just come anyway? I was like, yeah, come to open hour. So we have a good time. We're glad you guys are part of it, and always open to feedback of how we can do that differently or better. But yeah, exactly what Sage said. We like this format better for connecting with y'all. And of course, new episodes of the Hacks on Tuesdays and Salt Air on Thursdays. So keep an eye out for those newly posted episodes. We have a ton of fun with that. So be sure to check it out. And the Hacks, of course, you can listen to anywhere you listen to your podcasts. So Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. And Salt Air is on our YouTube channel. So. Okay, and store.saltstack.com is where you can last chance for Salt Stack swag. This is just becoming a joke now because I say this every week. There's still a lot of stuff's out of stock now, but it's still like 60 to 80% off. A lot of things are gone. There's still a few things. We do still have Death Star posters, which I'm excited about because I think those are awesome. So they're like $2 right now. So grab them for all your friends. Do your early Christmas shopping. If you're a weirdo like me and Christmas shop all year, because I hate Christmas shopping during the holidays, so I'm always done before the holiday. But then I forget what I bought, so that's fine. Okay, so that's there. The reason I get so excited about this every time is that we're clearing this out for the Salt Project swag. So that's going to be coming soon. So this summer, we're going to be revamping the store with Salt Project swag. So that's going to be sweet. Okay, SaltConf. I'm super excited about this, you guys. So yes, I'm going to tell you the same things I've told you every week, that our dates for SaltConf are November 3rd and 4th. It will be a virtual event. Our call for speakers is open June 7th to July 19th. But also have news. So we have a theme, and I want to share that here. So we haven't officially announced it. We haven't rolled it out yet. We're going to be doing that within the next 2 weeks. But I decided that we should just give our open hour attendees just an inside preview. So our theme for SaltConf this year is bigger, better, faster, stronger. And we are totally pumped to do kind of a Daft Punk vibe and have a great time with that. So just when you thought we were turning all corporate-y, our theme this year is bigger, better, faster, stronger. We're super pumped. So it's going to be awesome. And we'll get all that rolled out here the next couple weeks. So keep your eye out. Now you guys are all on the inside track of that knowledge. So, okay, pretty exciting. All right, Sage, I'm going to turn it over to you for a bit, talk about working groups and release things and all the things.
Sure. So the security working group, we had our first meeting. It is posted on YouTube. I posted it last night. It's public. This link here, I think, actually goes to a port to master. So I'll update that slide. I don't know how that got there, actually. Did we have that last time? That's silly. I'm not sure what we did there. But ignore that link. We had our first meeting. We'll have another one. Barney has been great. We are making great progress. And if you're interested in any of that work, either asynchronously or to come to the meeting, please do. Or if you have questions, please let us know. And that's all I have to say about the security working group. I don't know that I have much else about other working groups, unless anybody has questions about them. I could answer that.
So this link, sorry, this was just a collaboration of slides problem and I didn't move it.
Probably.
So this link is from when Andrew asked last week a question about this PR, and I threw it in so I didn't forget to bring it up and then didn't move it to its own slide. So
No worries. We can go to the next slide if nobody has questions. Release updates. So as of last night, there were 196 issues in the Silicon milestone. 46 are unassigned, and we need the community's help. So these can be assigned. They can be picked up. We would like to get them done. It is our, so Mo always called this a run at goal, which I think that's a funny word. It's what I would call in the industry, we usually say a stretch goal, that we would like to get to these. And so we're asking for the community's help in those. And if you want to work on one and you want me to assign you to one, just mention me in the issue. I try to check those mentions every day. So I check them at least. I try to check those at least a couple of times a week. And then also, we will have a ports to master jam. I don't know that we'll have this before we get into a code freeze, but I will put this on the calendar. We will do this. We will also do a docs jam. And same thing. I don't know exactly where those are going to fall, but that is on my list to do so that we will get some of those things done in this release cycle. So those are just some updates. If you want to go to the next one, I actually have not gotten the timeline slide ready. And I apologize, that's 2 weeks in a row that I haven't had that, and I will post it today. I have it, I just didn't get it into the deck, so my bad. We are
like,
still
keep you super busy.
Sometimes I just am, but we are still keeping the state for the aluminum point release. And then I will show everything for the further dates. Those are out on the calendar. So if you're subscribed to the calendar and you're getting those updates, they are there. Those are still target dates. They are subject to move. Things happen. So but this one, we're keeping it for now, as far as I know. So I'll get you guys a slide that also has that timeline for next time.
Awesome. Okay, May 26th, it's the day. Exciting.
Woohoo.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's what we have for you guys. So if you have anything for us, now is your time. We are here. We have plenty of time. I know last week Andrew asked that question that Gareth started to answer. I don't know if we want to dig into that more today. Andrew's here. I don't think. Oh yeah, he's here. Or did we talk? Or I don't know.
I'm fine. I think between then and over the course of the week, I'm good for the moment. So I appreciate that.
Perfect. Didn't forget about you.
No, I know. I am very grateful. So thank you. I was wondering if anyone had knowledge on where Tiamat is at. Is it ready for, I guess, is it still in beta? Is it still testing, or is it publicly available, ready to go, and people are using it in production?
So it's, sorry for my background noise. We are trying to get that out of beta for this next release cycle in Silicon. And so we're furiously working on some issues with that, and that should be done as far as we know. We're making good progress. And I can give more details in next week if people want to know more details about where. But the betas that are out there are actually pretty good, and we have been using a lot of what is offered in enterprise with Tiamat builds. So those that are out there for Salt, we'd love for people to tell us if things aren't working. So if you have a test environment that you can do that, that'd be great. If we could help you to do that in some way, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, the Juniper Arista and Salt AIX native minions that are available on Salt project, they're all built with Tiamat and have been used for over a year now.
Yeah, I was also just going to ask, do you mean Tiamat itself or Tiamat builds of Salt? I know that his handle, Bearded Eagle, is in my head, but Randy, I know Randy has been using Tiamat at GoDaddy to some very, very good success. I get to talk about that
Yeah, I've been talking with Randy about that in the past. He said that he set it up. He basically set up a Docker based. So it all runs in Docker, and you mount local directories into it, and your build artifacts, your packages, and whatever are saved locally once you're done. And so just like the tooling around that, he's trying to clear. Last I talked to him about it, he's trying to clear it internally with being able to open source it, because he did, because it is in their internal repos. So he's trying to go through the channels there, and he doesn't expect there to be pushback, but also like he's got to find time to do it. So.
Nice, that's awesome.
Is it worth quickly mentioning the whole Libera chat Freenode migration?
It's probably worth at least touching on that. I know that we do have both Salt and Salt Devel, and I believe, I'm not sure about Salt formulas for sure, or Salt stack formulas, whatever the channel name is, if we've got that on the Libera, but I know that some of the ops are have like collected basically all of the the channels that are big on Freenode, so that they've reserved those. So if you're an op on the Freenode channels, then you can contact somebody and they'll get you the channel on Libera. So we do have Salt and Salt Devel, as well as Salt Project on Libera. So I don't know that there's any official decisions on anything. MTech on IRC, he did set up a bridge, so the Libera Salt channel bridges to the Freenode Salt channel, which is also bridged to Slack and Matrix. So I heard you like bridges. Yeah. So, anyways, that's a little bit of, well, all I know about that.
Yeah. Well, the topic says we are moving probably to Libera, at least in Town Salt.
I saw in another group, totally unrelated to Salt, it's moving from Freenode to Libera, and they had a great quote, which was, "Well, Freenode, it was always too much drama."
I know of at least a few other projects that have completely locked their Freenode channels and basically said we have moved. So and at least half of the channels I'm in, which is a fair amount, have at least duplicate channels already in Libera. So the exodus seems to be happening quickly.
Yeah, it came up quick enough that I actually have been writing up a communication plan, and it made quite a few changes to my communication plan that I hadn't really thought of, that I was like, I need to think about this a little bit further before I can post anything about it, because this happens, right? Like things change, and I'm not sure exactly what our stance is on it at the moment, because it's so fresh, but of course we're on both at the moment. So that's where we are today. Although there was great media coverage on all of it, right?
Yeah, it seems like the Rocky Linux thing all over, or the CentOS thing all over again.
Yeah, it does. It does. Any other questions? Anything on anybody's mind?
I don't know if anybody else was thinking about this, but Imran from the Formulas Working Group brought up Jinja 3. I don't know what the issue number is off the top of my head. This might be, that's not the one I've got. Or Jinja 2 version 3, basically the one that was just released.
Yes.
but it has caused some issues in
And salt.
yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
noticed those. Yeah, they're coming in, and we probably need to take a look at that.
Well, there's
to-
the issue that I think, well, 3.5 they dropped it. I don't know about 3.6, but at least 3.5 they dropped it. So Debian 9 and Ubuntu 16. I don't know. I can't recall if we still support that, but those are out of scope for that Ginger version. The remaining we should see.
Ubuntu
To see if we support both.
is not supported with 3003 and newer.
Okay, yeah. So Debian 9 is what's still attaching us to 3.5.
Nice. So, yeah, I just I see Gary posted the link to that in chat, so thank you for that. But yeah, one of the things that I thought about as part of that discussion is that, you know, we've been bitten by this type of issue enough recently that it kind of feels like it's time to start a like bleeding edge test environment, basically designed to use the latest and greatest of all of our dependencies, Python, and anything under the hood that we use as well, just to see breaking changes and get out in front of them instead of kind of getting steamrolled by them. But that's, you know, it's effort, but it does feel like that's something we should look into soon.
I do feel like that's a good approach. I just don't know how we are going to tackle that human resource related issue.
So I believe 3003 is supported long enough that it'll finish out Debian 9's end of life. Do we want to just drop support for Debian 9 in 3004 so that we can move forward with other things?
So
Debian 9 is supported through 2024. Is that right?
Debian 9's supported through next summer.
2023. Okay.
No, 22, July or June 2022.
Okay.
And that's the extended period.
In the past, we've always supported when a new version came out, whatever was still supported by the OS. Much as that is a pain, otherwise I could have dropped 3.5 a long time ago.
We can still drop 3.5.
Yeah, I'm just giving it as an example.
You know, what I'm saying is, for example, for Debian 9, which is the one that's holding us back, is just package it with Tiamat and detach from the system.
Ooh. That's a good idea, but for those that are going to be problematic, we only give Tiamat support.
Yeah. In that way, we can stop maintaining 3.5 support and actually ship a more recent Python version.
And that would be a real spur to getting Tiamat out, since we could move forward.
How are we going to install into Python for the tests? Are we going to use PyM or just install it at the beginning? Or I'm sure that takes some changes in the Nox file.
So yeah, we have to approach this. One is we use something like PyEnv to install the Python version that we desire on Debian 9, which is simpler, but we are not really testing the way we are shipping on Debian, at least more or less. That would be one way. We would be testing the correct Python version, but not the right setup. The alternative is to actually build Salt with Tiamat and run tests against that. For unit tests, the PyEnv approach is good enough. For integration tests, yeah, we should probably build Tiamat. And
yeah, I would prefer building
that
it on PR with Tiamat.
Yeah, I agree. That's like the safest and actually best. It's not the fastest, but it's the best approach because we are testing what users are consuming.
There were a lot of things in that conversation.
Yeah.
I wrote some of them down. I think we probably need to follow up with that on a number of levels.
Yeah.
So we'll put some things together, and I think we should probably have a slide on that next time, or maybe 2 or 3. There's a couple of things there that I want to rabbit hole on, and I'm not going to.
Yeah.
The temptation's there.
Yes, it is. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we've actually talked about with regards to support, and one of the reasons that I think it's difficult to give a visual for that is that it's constantly changing, and so it's a manual effort to put something together for a visual or even a table, and I can't even keep up with it. So there's some things there that I think that we could do better on. I'm not sure exactly how to do that today, but I want to. I think we need something to show that, especially as things are sort of falling off. That the sort of juggle of like, well, we support this, but we can't do it this way, and things are coming out faster than we can keep up with. Like the Kubernetes working group is a really good example of things we just can't keep up with. Kubernetes changes so fast that the modules are constantly out of date, and so it's a juggle. But I'm open to ideas there, and I think that maybe that's part of what we were looking at for. It touches on a lot of different things. So we have right now the platform support page that we want to put into an RST and actually update that outside of the website and make that part of the docs that we do. But it's proving a little bit difficult to get that work done because, again, we're limited on resources. But that then leads us to some of these other things that we don't even have documentation on today that we probably need. We have lots of ideas. Hopefully we'll move on some of them.
So the mention of Tiamat just reminded me something I've been meaning to ask about. There's a set still open for Tiamat, which in the final comment period. And actually there's a couple of other sets I'm interested in. So particularly the SEP 19, which is also in final comment period. What's the sort of process to get those beyond final comment period and you know, actually agreed that we're going to move forward on those?
Yeah, the Tiamat one, we need people to review it and approve or not approve, I guess. We need people to have some time, Sage, to do so. And Wayne and I are actually going to get together this week and probably quickly go over exactly some cleanup, maybe for like 20 minutes and just move those forward. And I think we're still going to do that. We still have today and tomorrow, Wayne. Maybe we'll do it, or maybe we'll do it on Monday. We'll see. But working towards those and trying to move those forward. We originally, the SEP for, is SEP 19 inclusive language? Is that the one?
No, SEP 19 is user privilege.
The user privilege. That one, that one's really interesting. And I think that one needs, it doesn't need an implementation plan in order to be approved. I think that it needs to say, yes, we think this is a good idea and approve it. And then we need to move into an implementation phase of what that looks like and where and how and why. That one I think was written, I'd have to go back and look, but it also needs some people to dedicate some time to it. And I was thinking that that one was going to go to one of the working groups, but I'm not exactly sure that it fits in any single one. So I'm not
I
sure
mean,
who
I
that's going to
think
be.
I
Maybe
think it
security.
fits probably, yeah, towards security. Definitely, that's certainly what I was thinking. But yeah, so does is there for the SEPs, is there a specific number of people from the core team that need to approve, or?
That's a good question, Wayne. I thought that it needed 6 approvals. I didn't. It's not my
I was
understanding
gonna-
that it needs
I
6
can't
or
remember
4.
if it's a majority or simply like 5. I feel like 5 has been the number historically in the past that we've.
Okay.
Or it should say in SEP number 1 what that
I'll go look.
either number or percentage is.
I'll go look at that because I can't remember off the top of my head either. And I'll actually bring some details back to this meeting, just to share it. Because I've also forgotten. But yeah, trying to move this forward. And the inclusive language one, I did want to say that that one was written before we were acquired, and then now we've been acquired and told that we have to do it. And so the SEP is sort of sitting there with like, well, I'd rather move it through the process, even though we're being told we have to do this. So that one is a little bit strange because I think that it would behoove us to move it through the process, even though it changed in the middle. That's my thought. People think otherwise, I'd love to hear it.
For what it's worth, I'll still throw out my opposition to renaming master, not because I, have any intrinsic whatever, but basically it's the only word that I'm aware of. And I've looked for a while with all kinds of thesauruses and still have yet to find one that encapsulates what a salt master actually is and does. A controller is probably the closest thing, but it still is, it's still a bit flimsy, I guess, is
Yeah,
what it is.
I agree.
Because master and minion is just kind of perfect, because I think of like, Gru in Despicable Me, controlling his minions. And that's a much more accurate term than any of the other proposals that I've seen, especially with like leader and follower, because it's not a leader. It doesn't lead anything. It does control and enforce its will on its little minions. But anyways.
Maybe we should go all in and rename it brew, so it's salt brew, along the lines of home brew, etc. Salt brew.
I will say one of the names we tossed out was Salt Gru, was renaming the master to Gru. And now we have VMware's lawyers, so we can watch them battle with Disney lawyers.
That's
Overlord.
That's a joke.
It's a joke.
The only alternative I've seen that seems to make any sense is publisher and subscriber, but it doesn't really roll off the tongue.
It sure doesn't. Yeah.
I also find a lot of these to be performative in nature. Like if there's no like explicit, I can understand renaming something if it's a like when you have like if you're talking about like devices or audio devices like master and slave, like that is clearly charged language, but that doesn't mean like you erase the word everywhere else. If there's no, charge,
Sure.
Anyway.
Sure. There's, like I said, when we opened the SEP and we were talking about these things, we had not been acquired yet by VMware, and now we have, and so that changes some things. And I do think that they've come down and said that it's controller, but we do have an opportunity to push back. I don't know that this is exactly where we're going to push back, but I think that accepting and approving the SEP is just to say, yes, we're going to make some decisions going forward to have some inclusive language. And one of those things is to change the branch name, and then to put forth implementation plan so that people know when that's happening, and some of those other things. Changing Salt Master is huge, and I'm not really sure that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I
to
don't
anything.
I don't think people who are making the decisions on that have any concept of goes into making that change.
Yes, they don't have skin in the game for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for any of these kinds of changes, we need to weigh the risk of creating bugs versus the reward of making the change.
The reward of, what, internet points? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, I know we kind of talked about this in a Saltair episode when I talked to Tom about what the term master means, and he kind of talked about it as if the change was already happening, but I don't know. Like Sage said, everything Sage said is 100% accurate, that it would take a minute. So if anyone does have additional thoughts on it that you prefer to take offline, like Sage or I are always available. Reach out to us on Slack or email.
Yeah, something with that is that this project and this community is inclusive. And so I want our language to reflect that. That doesn't mean that a certain word needs to change to something or change all. I think that we can do that in other ways too. So I hope that we can express that and that people will see that. And that's more of the idea of that SEP, I believe. Plus the GitHub did change everything to main for their default branch. And so that's something that we can do.
Yeah, well, and it's in that context, I actually prefer main or Excelsior, but main is kind of more the accepted one. But
shorter.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but that is one context where the word master does actually have roots to slavery, and in that case, I'm absolutely more than in favor for that. It's just when we're talking about the Salt Master, as I think to echo the sentiment of performative changes, I like to change things where they are dark language, where it's anti-patterns, and the alternative is clearer and more comprehensive. Block list and allow list, I mean, that is way more clear. And so I'm very, very much in favor of those types of changes. It's really just, I still have not found a word, and if somebody if somebody knows of a word that is more descriptive than master, or at least as descriptive for a master and minion type relationship, then I am on board with that. I do also really like Drew, but lawyers.
I liked Garrett's idea of just sort of like putting them all in the battle. It could be a reality show. Put them on an island.
It would make a really entertaining open hour. I'll just say that.
That's true. We have some suggestions in the chat. We've got Overlord and Alderman and Ombudsman, and something that Gary said that I can't pronounce. So
It's a safe word from Eurotrip.
It's just a bunch of symbols. So in my defense of not being able to pronounce it.
I will say one of the things that we found challenging with some of the suggested alternatives to some of the names is we actually use them in other parts of Salt. So one of the words that is on the list of words to not use is execute, because of its association with like executions. And so the alternative that was suggested was runners, or like running modules, which we already have in the form of Salt runners. So just the size and complexity of the Salt project with all the different names we use makes it more challenging to find these alternatives than other projects will likely have.
Yes, in fact, Kubernetes has some language that's, as this rolled out with VMware, they said here's some specific things for Kubernetes because some of the language that was decided upon didn't work for them either. And so I do think that in that vein, we have a chance to say, but for our project, these are some of the things that we're going to use, but that would need some direction and careful thought. And that's not what the SEP is doing. The SEP is saying, yes, we agree with this idea, rough consensus, right? And is not setting forth the implementation directly. Implementation and going forward with exactly how things would pan out is a separate process. And I think that needs some guidance. And I'm looking to do that as I gain some time. Because there's more. I'm going to make more time in the day eventually. I don't know how, and have some time for SEPs, and then look at implementation process afterward. That also goes with features and how features are requested and implemented today. We don't have a good process around that, and it needs some help. And I've been thinking about that for some time. I don't have anything in place looking at making that more visible and more complete as well. Those things kind of go together, kind of roundabout way.
And there was a point mentioned too about that you mentioned. You used the saying "skin in the game," Sage.
Yeah.
And yeah, because
as soon as I said it.
Well, yeah, because it is a thing where it feels like a lot of the terms or those are kind of, I remember seeing one suggestion where they said primary, secondary, and that also didn't really make any sense for how this works either. But it's sort of like a lot of terms being handed down, but then especially with how gargantuan a change of changing Saltmaster to honestly anything else would not only impact just the whole code base really strongly, but honestly, any tools that anyone else uses anywhere in their environments that are targeting Saltmasters would just, upon any update, if there was really any terminology update like that, would just break or need significant amounts of it's like if it'd be one thing if they said we believe that this is going to be this, because technically if it's going to relate to hours spent over a long period of time of changes to tests, of changes to code base, of changes to all of that, that does equate to like an amount of spending that VMware is technically expecting to do on it. And if they're, so it'd be interesting to see if they're like, oh, well, we actually allocate engineers or resources to assist with that, or if they just sort of feel that spending should be done on name changes by the existing engineers.
Yeah, Derek and I have talked about this extensively, and it always harkens back to the chicken and the pig, right? And suddenly I'm feeling like a pig, and not a chicken, which is different. And that's real. That's very real. And it's something that I want to use to propel us forward. You've asked us to do this. Where show me the money, right? Those are always fun conversations. I actually like them.
I think it's good. I think it's good to, be vocal, and that's why I think I really enjoy being able to connect with everyone's thoughts and have people feel like they can share what they're thinking and let us know. So absolutely. And again, if anyone has additional thoughts that they'd prefer to voice offline, we are always here. So
yes.
Does anyone have anything additional they'd like to bring up before we wrap up? There's still plenty of time, so don't feel like you can't bring up another topic.
Yeah, just one more thing from me, if that's okay.
Sure.
Actually about reviews on pull requests, but on the main repository. So where there are required reviews and those reviews have happened, I'm always, I don't want to dismiss those reviews. So if I need to I understand, obviously, if there are actually any changes to the pull request, then those reviews get dismissed and need to be done. If the branch is out of date with master, normally what I would do would be to rebase and force push, but I think that then clears the reviews, which I don't want to do. What I was wondering is, you know how on the PR you get this branch is out of date with base branch, update branch. Will that update it without clearing the reviews, or will that also clear the reviews? Does anybody know?
I think any change clears the review. So any of those changes result in a merge commit, which dismisses any review.
I think update. I think just an update from branch doesn't wipe the existing reviews, because we've had to do that quite a lot with the amount of merges that happen. But if a new commit outside of something that was like updating the branch from master, then that would reset the reviews.
Yeah, I realized that. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I do know that even it may dismiss reviews, but there still will be changes requested, because I've seen that on several ones that I've reviewed in the past, where it'll still say, oh, there were changes requested. And I believe that the conversation has to be resolved. All the points in the conversation have to be resolved, and potentially the reviewer has to re-review and approve it. But at least in the merge dialog, it'll say like blocked for requested changes or something to that effect, even with the like merge, the latest changes into the branch. It will still have that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to work out, because I've got a PR where there's just one test failing, which I think is just something broken in the test, and I don't want to dismiss the reviews because it's taken a while for that to happen, and I'm just wondering if that particular test may be fixed in master, but yeah, I don't want to sort of then have to go back through the process of then trying that and then waiting for reviews again. So I was just wondering if by using doing it via the interface, whether GitHub was sensible enough to, special case that.
Yeah, if it has been approved, I don't think anything changes when you do a merge in for master. Cool. I'm pretty sure that it stays approved, unless the test fails, in which case the test will block it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure at least as far as views go, it doesn't change anything.
In my experience, if you click that update branch button, update from branch, it does clear the reviews.
Oh, it does, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And just to be clear, depending on, and this is for us, the core team, when we review pull requests, there's a little button, a checkbox to the right, which you can check for the files that you have reviewed. And for your particular use case, where you're basically going to rebase and push, if the files don't actually change, when the reviewer goes back, if he has used those checkboxes, only the files that actually changed will require a re-review. So for us, the core team, if we use that, we reduce the amount of work we have to review code. Because let's say that you left a print statement and we missed it, but you found it before, and we approved the pull request, but you found it before we merged it, and you're just either rebasing or removing that line and pushing an extra commit. If we use that checkbox approach, only the file where you actually did the change will require the re-review, not everything.
Cool.
Which I must be honest and say that I only do that on big pull requests. Guess I should start doing that on all. But yeah, just like a heads up on big pull requests, that helps a ton.
Hey Barney, if you want to drop your PR into chat, we can take a look at it and see if it is like a known failing test that we're watching and trying to fix, or we know it's fixed in master.
It's that, and the failing test, which is slightly weird, is that which is just saying Jenkins can't find a file.
Oh, is it the pre-commit one?
No, it's Fedora 34 x86 64 Pi3 PyTest.
Okay.
Oh, so your branch is not up to date with the master branch. That build has been made required this week, and that's why that's still yellow, like it was running, because you haven't ran that.
Yeah, but I did rerun that test.
Oh.
And it's still, and so I literally, yeah, I mean, I've rerun that test a couple of times within that PR.
And you've updated from master?
No, but I've not updated to master. Right, okay.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably what Pedro was talking about.
Okay, yeah, it is. Right. It is. So if you merge the latest changes from master or rebase, the latest changes from master, that will stop failing.
Okay, cool. I'll do that. Okay, thanks.
I had one other thing quickly. Gareth has made some awesome progress on getting Napalm working with the Delta proxy. So anyone that would like to try it out, it's actually quite usable right now. There's still a couple issues. One, it takes, if you have a large number of devices, it takes a little while for it to finish starting up. And two, if your devices get disconnected, it won't reconnect automatically, but otherwise it's working very well. So anyone that's interested in testing it should, and I can, if they have questions, they can hit me up on Slack, because it's quite easy to get going, and it's so far it's working quite well.
Yes, please test it and find the bugs, because I need more work to do. There was a question. I don't know, Chris, if you want to ask your question on.
Yeah, I just dropped it in there. I might be too late to get this in, but I made some fixes to a Postgres returner, and I'm being honest, I haven't really dug in too deep on the kind of how you guys do testing and stuff like that. So I'm curious, how would you test like vendor specific integration, things like that generally?
So I don't know if anybody else wants to to take this, but as I run the test clinics, I kind of feel like I should jump in. So that's actually a great thing to do if you want to bring those to the test clinics on Tuesday or Thursday. Those are on the calendar. Tuesday afternoon or Thursday morning, right before this open hour call. But yeah, I would have to say that it depends on how intensive the change is. Some of the changes can be tested reliably with a unit test. Doesn't need to kind of fit anything externally. Others need a little bit more comprehensive changes. As a matter of fact, there was one that I had started looking into and then discovered it needed a whole lot deeper refactoring. It was actually with the Postgres. I forget which one, but the change is actually calling, the original one is calling the wrong thing on a table to inspect things, and then the new one is actually calling some other things. So it needs some pretty intensive tests there. So if yours is in a similar boat, it may require kind of some.
Yeah, I mean, so I kind of followed a similar fix from a different PR, so it's not in the mainline product, and it depends on. I'm not even convinced yet that it's the right fix, but it works, but it depends on knowing what version of Postgres you're on, which which is not
Yeah.
necessarily a good thing to be able to test with just a unit test.
Yeah, and there are cases where that's totally valid, especially when like the underlying API changes. But I know Gareth was working with MySQL in the past, and they had just like completely removed a whole section of API.
Yeah.
So we just can't even do that in Salt if you have a newer version of MySQL. So yeah.
Yeah, I may try to spend some time and rework it so that it's just like SQL agnostic instead of version dependent, and then that would make it a little better. But okay, cool. Yeah, I'll try and swing by and
one suggestion I might have, just since Wayne mentioned the MySQL work, using some stuff that Pedro and DWAS had done to test various versions using Docker containers. That's a really good way to do like integration tests, because you can actually spin up, and we have some really good examples in the testing suite already. You can actually spin up real versions of those, of like Postgres, for example, and then test it against it, make sure it works.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I've tested it, kind of manually. But yeah, cool.
Sounds good. Okay, well, we are at the top of the hour, so sorry to cut this off, but thank you guys so much for fantastic conversation. We love being able to connect every week, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you next week. Thanks all. Bye.